the instance.
Autoscaling is used for
Automatic spin up
spin up and spin down.
spinning up and spinning down instances to the environment we have. Okay, so autoscaling, that's what we are going to do. Autoscaling we are going to create, and autoscaling is not only created all alone, but it will work with load balancers, because whenever autoscaling need to create instances, okay, whenever it needs to create instances, it must be notified by load balancer, something else, somebody, that the load of our environment is increasing or the load is reduced. So that based on that, information or commands, autoscaling either spin up the instances or spin down the instances. So what do? We'll just go to EC2 instance. Before we create, okay, before we create autoscaling, as we have just discussed, we must need to have a load balancer. Okay, so we'll create load balancer, and there are so many things we need to do today just to have autoscaling is created or to practice. So what I'm doing, I'm just going to create, though I don't have any, so I'll just name this as my web load balancer, just like that. And how many different type of load balancers do we have? Yeah,
And external.
internal and
Internal load balancer, external load balancer.
yeah, that's fine. So if you wanted internal load balancer is to be created, then you should check this box. If not, it will be directly external load balancer, and external load balancer always works over internet. So port number 80 should always be open. Then next, so you can have any number of security groups attached. Multiple security groups can be attached, but I'm taking only one. That's enough for me, and I don't have any SSL certificates to have an additional layer of security, but I don't mind. Port number 80, I wanted to communicate or ping the servers to another page. See, healthcheck.html, this is where I wanted my servers to be tested. Time interval, I'll give only 10 seconds, and response timeout, are you clear? I mean, you remember all these things? What's response timeout? What's interval? What's unhealthy threshold and healthy threshold?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good. Okay, no instances we currently have, so not an issue. I'll say ID. So some number I've given randomly. Create. And okay, the load balancer, my web load balancer is created. That's fine. Close. Now what do? We'll go to autoscaling. Now please try to understand each and every single thing. Do you remember what and all we have discussed about autoscaling? Whenever we have to create something in autoscaling, we must need to create a launch configuration first. Okay, then only it will work. The launch configuration automatically route us to autoscaling, and what we have to do, let's go. So create auto-scaling group. When you go create auto-scaling, first you see the steps are given here. Create launch configuration, then create auto-scaling group. Okay, so these are the two steps, one after the other. It will be automatically routing us to one after the other. And this launch configuration is something like your EC2 instance, creating an EC2 instance. So why do we have to do this? Okay, why do we have to create launch configuration which is similar to EC2 instance? It's because auto-scaling need to spin up the instances based on load balancers command. When it needs to create instances, it must need to know what type of instances are to be created. Alright, so it needs to know the configuration and the requirement of our instances, so that it will create exactly the same instance which needs for our environment. For that, we have to create a launch configuration which is similar to creating an EC2 instance. So here we provide what AMI it is to be taken. Okay, if you have any of your personal AMI, then that AMI we take. If not, like this, anything you can just select. How do you select your own AMI? If you have something, or cancel it. How do you select your own AMIs? So go to my AMI. Here you will find all your AMIs. Now I don't have any AMI currently, so selected. Now type of instance, of course it is eligible. T2 only is the eligible one, so I've taken that. Now configure details, name of the launch configuration. Okay, so what I'll just say, I'll give the name of this launch configuration as just like web LT. I'll just give web launch configuration. Then do you need spot instances? No, we don't need spot instances. And do we need IAM role? Yes, of course we need IAM role. Why? I'll tell you. And monitoring, do we require CloudWatch detailed monitoring? No, we don't require, because detailed monitoring is enough for us. Sorry, default monitoring. Detailed monitoring will charge you more additionally, so do not go for that. And we have taken a IAM role full access here, S3 full access here, just because we are going to put some script, because when this launch configuration based on auto-scaling commands launch an instance, while it launch an instance, it must need to create a web server, and automatically not only creating a web server, but it should also create two web pages. Those two web pages are nothing but one is index.html and the other one is healthcheck.html. So how do we do that? It's not possible for us to go log into that instance every time whenever it needs to create, and then you create you install or you create a web server onto that and then create web pages. Again, we wanted this auto scaling mechanism in order to reduce our intervention into this. So when we ourselves have to do some stuff again, then it's of it's not meeting our purpose. So what we are going to do, we are going to write a small script here. This script will tell the server, okay, while it is booting, okay, while an instance is booting or created or launched, it will check not only the configurational stuff whatever we have provided, AMI, a type of EC2 instance and all, but it will also check user data, if there is any user data or not. If there is any user data, then it will create all those things which we instruct in this user data. So what are we going to do first? Remember, this first line is pretty much important for our script. So you don't need to have a huge knowledge of scripting, but a little idea is enough. This particular line is very important. You just memorize it. Okay. So hash exclamatory slash bin slash bash. It with respect to this particular line command, the instance will understand that there is a script to be executed. Okay, now what is that script to be executed? First, all known commands only. Do not worry, anything new I'm going to enter here or anything new command I'm going to instruct here. I'll explain that. So first, what do we do initially when we launch our instance? We update it, right? So that's what I'm going to do. Yum
Sir,
update. Yeah.
what is the script you given? Is generally you have different scripts, right? What is that script? Is that have any name?
Simply a bash script.
Okay.
Okay, this is a bash scripting, and there is no particular name based on your requirement. What you wanted that use, what you wanted to install in your server, that you mentioned here. So that's what I'm explaining line by line. First, what do? We update our packages. So yum update -y. Then what do? We install web server. For that, the command is yum install httpd -y. Okay. Then what do we do after that? Once it is done, we go start the services, isn't it? So service http g start. After that, we reboot this Apache server. So check config. Okay, http g on. So all these are known commands to you now. So for whatever we have just given. But apart from these things, not only creating a website, but we also need to create web pages, right? So how do we create web pages? We are not having any particular command to create a web page, because that web pages will have so much of personal data. Whatever the data you wanted to write in that, good morning, good evening, whatever you wanted to write, you have to write. It's up to you. So here we do not have any script, but we personally create some web pages from some other tool. I'll just show you in a next minute. Okay, and those web pages will be kept in a S3 bucket. From there we pull all of them. So how do we pull all those things? By these particular little command. Okay, so what is that command we are going to execute for that? AWS. From where we are going to pull these web pages? S3. I have not created any web pages so far, but once after we finish writing this command, we'll just go create. Okay, S3. What we wanted to do? Copy. We wanted to copy our web pages from that S3 bucket to this location, to our instance. So copy is the command taken. Now we have to give two things: from where you need to copy and where you wanted to copy. The source and destination. So what is the source? The source will be S3 colon / the bucket name. We have not created any bucket, so I'll just go create a bucket now. Oh, we already have a bucket, so I'll use this. My web data 145. I'll use that. My web data 145. That's all right. That is the same spelling. My web data. Be careful while you enter something. If you miss even a single thing in that, the script will not work. So S3 colon slash slash bucket name space. This is what the source. Now we have to write destination. What is the destination? Initially, when an Apache server is created on an instance, installed on an instance, where do we create our web pages, index.html and all? Can you just tell me? Yes. Where do we create our web pages on the instance? Yes, guys. Anybody? If you don't know, you please let me so that I'll continue. I'll tell you the answer and then continue. Root volume, no. Our web pages will be created in the root directory of Apache server. Now please tell me what is the root directory of Apache server? Anybody? Forgot, huh? Not cd slash var slash, come on,
www
exactly, slash www slash
slash
html.
index.html. Yeah.
This HTML. So this var www HTML, this is the root directory of our Apache server. So whichever the web page we create will be created under this directory. Var www HTML is the directory where we create our web pages. Okay, so this is the destination. It is AWS because we are executing an AWS command, and it is especially about S3 storage. What we are doing from S3, we are going to copy something, so CP. From where we are copying? S3 bucket, so S3 colon slash slash the bucket name, and where we are going to copy, that's the destination location, so that's the root directory of our Apache server. And what and all we wanted to copy, we are not going to copy any specific file, right? If we wanted to copy any specific file, just like index.html or anything.html, you just give that web page name here only, index.html. But we wanted multiple web pages to be copied. So what do we say? Rather we do that, okay, we mention this double hyphen, okay, hyphen recursive. Recursive means copy everything from this bucket to this location. That is what hyphen recursive means. Okay. Are you clear with this particular line?
Sir, I do have a doubt. Why are we not using CD? Because that is a directory.
Yeah, directory. When do we use CD? When we wanted to enter into the directory, we say change directory. Clear?
Okay.
Clear, ma?
Yeah.
So we are not doing that because we are not going to enter into that directory. We are just providing a location. Okay, you go and copy it, say, in that location, but we are not manually entering over there. CD
Okay.
is used on the server when we are trying to change our directory. CD is nothing but change directory. So here we are not in any directory, first of all, so that we are not going to change our directory. We are just giving a source location and a destination location. Clear?
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Any other? So this is what the command to be given, and once it is given, before that we wanted to have our web pages to be created, right? So for that, what I'm doing is I have a little application known as context. This is a freeware, you'll get it in Google. Okay, so text editor. So take that context editor, you'll get it in Google. Just install it in your this one PC. In this we can create web pages. Yes. Come on, please. Just a second, let me bring it. Okay, let's see. Try from here. I This is my yes I okay. So let's try this way for now, and the next one I'll just do something I'm writing. You able to hear me, right? There was a little disturbance with the network as well.
Yeah. Now it's clear.
So this, let's name this as healthcheck.html. Health check. Then we got our two pages created, but save them in HTML format where we are in Outlook downloads. So from here, we'll just go and save our web pages into this. So we have created a storage S3 bucket, and in that S3 bucket we are going to save our files. So how are we going to do that? Upload. Go to upload. We have our files. Here you can just drag and drop, or you can also select files, whichever the file you wanted to upload can be uploaded here into this. So we are into downloads. These two files we wanted to upload. Have selected this. Are you clear with this? What I'm doing? Yes. Okay. So I'm uploading them. Both of them are uploading. Now we have two web pages created and uploaded into our bucket. But by default, these web pages once created will be private by default. So we need to go and make them public. How are we going to do? Select individually one by one, so that these things can be accessed by people. Permission. So here add more permission. For now, give it to everybody so that everybody can access. Save. Saved. Now let's go to this file and do the same thing. Permissions. Go everyone. This is not actually needed for now, but however, anything, we don't need to have any issues. So I'm just making them public so that publicly accessed by people. Now, okay, we have web pages created and those web pages are uploaded into our S3 bucket. And from that S3 bucket, we have instructed, okay, this launch configuration to copy those files into our instance. Whichever the instance is created, there it should be copied. So this is the script all about. We need to remember, and remember that hyphen recursive is to copy entire content, whatever it is there. And let's understand the other 2 points. Now what it is saying, only assign a public IP to instance launched in the default VPC and subnet. So let's keep things so simple here. I'm just going with the default settings. I'm not going to take anything. You wanted specific things to be taken, you can just do that. Assign a public IP address to every instance. You specifically wanted that. Okay, by default thing is also the same. If you do not wanted any public IP to be created for your instances, then you can just select that. Then there's nothing else. So we are done with configuring data. So what we have done in this configuring data, we have given a name to our launch configuration. We don't wanted spot instances, so we have not checked anything over there. Then IAM role is compulsory, that we have to provide S3 full access there. So S3 full access IAM role is attached. That's because here in the user data we are having a script, and in that script we mentioned, okay, we have mentioned something to be copied from our S3 bucket to our EC2 instances. So that is why that IAM role is to be attached. After that, add storage. So default, for an IAM we are enough with 8 GB of volume. So, and since we are not going to copy any files into that other than these two index pages, web pages, I'm not going for any additional volume. Okay, then going to the next one, security group. Attach the security group. Then launch configuration. Once you say create launch configuration, it will automatically redirect us to what? Auto-scaling. So let's see. What is that? It is saying improve security instances launched using, okay, fine. SG is open to the world, not an issue. Are you clear with launch configuration, what and all we have taken? Okay. So now, key pair, acknowledged, yes. See here. So once we are done with our launch configuration settings, it will automatically route us to auto scaling. So here, what is the launch configuration used by this auto scaling? That is web launch configuration, which is just created by us. And group name, what is the group name we are going to provide? That's web. We'll just give a common name to everything. With web auto scaling. Okay, auto scaling group. Okay, anything you wanted. So far, I hope you can just, and you got it. And these are the points we need to understand. Group size, how many instances you basically needed for your environment. Okay, auto scaling not only decreases the instances, but it will also maintain a fixed number of instances in your environment. Why this is to be mentioned? It's because we in case have 3 servers dedicatedly assigned to our environment. Okay, and those are behind the load balancer, and the load balancer is connected to auto scaling. When we say auto scaling to scale up or scale down instances, what happens is the moment it will find the instances idle, it will keep on terminating them. But we wanted dedicatedly assigned instances to be kept like that only, not to disturb them. Alright, only the newly created instances are to be terminated. In such a case, we mention the type, size of the group. So the fixed number of instances, how many fixed number of instances you wanted for your environment, that is to be mentioned here. So we say for example 3 here, and VPC, let's create it in default VPC because we do not have our dedicated VPC for us currently. So I'm not changing anything because we only have one. But I hope you understand the group size. Are you clear with what is group size? You all? Fine. One yes. Okay, I'll do it. Very good. Okay, listen to me. So first, what we have done, let me come back from the beginning. First, we have created a load balancer. Okay. The load balancer is created, kept aside. After that, we have created a storage S3 bucket. And into that S3 bucket, we have created 2 web pages, index.html and healthcheck.html. Those 2 web pages are uploaded into the storage. That's kept another side. Now, to create a load auto scaling, we first have to create launch configuration. The launch configuration is just like creating an instance. Why do we have to do that? It's because when auto scaling need to spin up the instances, what type of instances it needs to spin up? It's nothing but create. So to inform that, okay, to have an understanding, we created a launch configuration, and that launch configuration is created with a script. In that script we mentioned, okay, what and all it needs to do. It needs to create a web server into that, and those web server services are to be started. All the stuff we have mentioned, and also mentioned that the web pages are to be copied from S3 bucket to the instance whenever a new instance is created. And after once we are done with configuring our launch configuration, we automatically routed to auto scaling group creation. So here in this auto scaling group creation, we first provide, okay, the name of that auto scaling group, and before that launch configuration exists that is taken by the AutoScaling group by defaultly. We don't need to provide anything over there. Yeah? Anything? And the next thing is group size. This is to be understood. The number of instances the group should have at any time, also called desired capacity. So for your environment, how many servers you wanted to have dedicatedly, that number should not be altered by AutoScaling group. Like here we have mentioned 3, which means I said I'm instructing this AutoScaling group to maintain 3 servers all the time, irrespective of the load, increasing or decreasing. There should be minimum of 3 servers to the to my environment. So that is what the point group size is, which means let's understand this way. You are done with your activity, okay, and the user's size is decreased because it may be an odd time or non-business hour, anything it may be. The number of users accessing a website has totally reduced, and out of your 3 servers which are dedicatedly owned by you for your environment are also not being used. Hardly 1 server may be being used because it's a non-business hour. So what AutoScaling does, it the moment it find 2 servers not being used or unhealthy, idle, it will delete even them also. So how many servers do we have now? Only 1. But the next day when business hour starts, automatically the AutoScaling should start work. But why do we create multiple instances many a number of times? So instead of doing that, when we have a certain estimation that how many users are going to access our website every day, based on that we plan some fixed amount of servers for our environment all the time. So that fixed amount of servers allocated to our environment all the time is mentioned with this group size. So I said 3, all the time there should be 3 instances up and running irrespective of the load, whether it is huge or very less. There will be 3 servers in your environment, in your account. And next, VPC. In which VPC you wanted these servers to be created? So that's default VPC only. We currently have only 1. Then understand this subnet. Subnet is nothing but what? Can somebody tell me what is subnet? Yes? Nobody? Do you at least remember now? See, I have clicked.
Availability zone.
Exactly. That is what I wanted you to tell me. Now, here, your group size is 3. Okay. And apart from that, when a server is created, which subnet your servers are to be created, your instances are to be created? That is what we have to mention here. And remember this thing for sure. Select all the available subnets, all the availability zones here without leaving anything, because for a highly available environment, HA, okay, high availability environment, you must need to plan your instances created in all the availability zones, because if one zone is not working properly, automatically the requests are routed to the next one, next availability zone or next healthy instance. So your website will be doing fine even if one data center is not properly working. Even if now, since here we have 3 data centers, 3 availability zones, and out of these 3, if 2 availability zones not working properly also, you will be able to serve your need with another availability zone instances, so that you plan for all the availability zones to be created your instances. And how does this do? Now I'm asking for 3 servers to be dedicatedly created for me and selected 3 subnets here. Autoscaling is smart enough that it will go create instances sequentially. Now first server is created in A region, A availability zone, second will be in B, third will be in C. So each availability zone, one instance is created even about these default servers also. Next time if it needs to create, then it will start again from A, B, C like that. So this is why, that's the reason why I wanted you to select all the availability zones here in subnets column. Okay, then advanced details, load balancing. Alright, so we always have to mention that communication. How does this auto scaling understand whether the load is increasing or not? So that is set under this advanced details. So under this, load balancing will be receive traffic from elastic load balancer. Yes, click on that, so that another dialog box has opened. Here in this, you have to mention your load balancers. That's the available load balancer is my web load balancer. And in case if you wanted, okay, to have your environment in multiple regions, the load balancer only works for multiple availability zones within the region. Alright, when you wanted multiple region instances are to be combined together, what do we have to do? Can anybody? We discussed this point in ELB.
Snapshot?
What is that? Hello?
Taking snapshots on.
Snapshots? No, not that. See, my question is, load balancer only works for, sorry, mute yourself. Who's that? Okay, so load balancer only works for a particular region, multiple availability zones within a region. But I wanted to combine multiple regions. For that, remember, Route 53 is to be used. ELB will have only a record. Okay, when you wanted to have CNAME, the uses of or the differences between a record and CNAME we have discussed, right? The first difference is a records are not user friendly, so we go with CNAME, that's canonical name. And the second difference is with a record or with ALB, we can just create our environment only in a region with multiple availability zones. But when we wanted to have multiple regions to be created or environments, then we go with CNAME, Route 53, domain name. So that domain name is to be selected here. That will be listed, but we currently have only one load balancer, that only one load balancer is listed here. That's what we have checked, we have taken. And health check type should also be load balancer only, because load balancer only will check whether the instances are healthy or not, isn't it? That's what we have configured in this. Health check should be healthcheck.html. So the load balancer is taking pain in checking all the instances whether they're being healthy or not. And then health check grace period time. So by default it is taking 300 seconds. But what is this? Let's first try to understand this grace period. First, when a server needs to be created, can we create a server in a matter of 10 seconds or 5 seconds or in 0 seconds? Can we? Creating an instance, at least it takes 30 to 50 seconds, or at least 1 minute it takes, isn't it? So to create an instance, if it is taking some 30 seconds to 60 seconds, it's not only creating an instance but also executing a bash script which is mentioned in the user data. So for that, it at least takes some amount of time, right? So we need to give a breathing time for all the instances which are going to be created. Then only they will be considered to be healthy servers. If not, the load balancer, keep on pinging auto-scaling. Hey, I'm having so much of load, you provide me servers, provide me servers. And auto-scaling keep on increases the machines, instances. But those will not be counted by auto-scaling, sorry, a load balancer, because they are not actually, created. So before they are created, okay, even while they are in a creation, auto-scaling is notified by load balancer. So based on that command, it goes on creating the instances. So for that, what do we say? Okay, you wait for so much of time to get ready the instance for your live production to attach that to load balancer. Till then, it will be created with all the configurational stuff, and not only that, by also executing the script mentioned in the user data. So that is what the health check grace period. Now what I'll do, since we have given a very small script, I'm taking 150 seconds, which is nothing but 2.5 minutes. So let's read this. The health of time that auto-scaling wait before checking an instance health status. The grace period begins when an instance come into service. If no value is provided, a default of 300 seconds will be used. Enter 0 for no grace period. Better never go with 0, because in 0 seconds you will not get any instances created. At least go with 2 to 3 minutes of time. And we don't want any detailed monitoring. We are okay with normal monitoring, that's enough. Then instance protection in the sense the default instances should not be subtracted or deleted. If you wanted that to be happened, okay, you can just have this, which is nothing but you can just get it out. So we already have mentioned 3 here, so that it will always maintain 3 servers all the time. But why this again? It's because when you create some instances manually by you and you build things onto that, okay, and those servers are not to be touched, then you can just mention here protect from scaling. So those servers are not touched by them. If not, irrespective of what servers it is, who created by whom, whether it is created by auto-scaling or you, or whether it is created recently or older original server, without checking all that, it will go delete the servers. But of course, it will maintain 3 servers continuously. Okay, you wanted to check if protect from scale in is set. Newly launched instances will be protected from scaling by default. Auto-scaling will not select protected instances from termination during scaling. So the newly launched instances will also be kept as it is. So we are not going with that instance protection. Let things be as simple as that. Okay, next, configure scaling policy. Going to the next one. And here in this, keep this group as its initial size. Okay, this is where configuring scaling policy, we mention how to scale up, how to scale down our instances. If not, keep this group as its initial size. You wanted to go for scaling policies. So here you have to mention scale between 3 and 3. You have to mention. Okay. Now I'll come again. Initially you have 3 servers. Understand things. These are little confusing. Apart from 3 servers, when auto-scaling need to scale up instances, how many instances does it or it can create? Okay, if you do not set any limit, As and when the load increases, even if it is a smaller one, load balancer, without waiting for any time, it simply go notify autoscaling. And taking those commands, autoscaling will automatically create instances. And all of a sudden, if 10 to 15 servers are created, instances are created, it will go beyond your budget and it will be a problem to you. So when you are worried about your budget, you can just set auto scaling saying, okay, I'm currently having 3, and if my website load increases, then I have only so much of budget that you don't have to notify what amount of what's your budget, but you can just mention based on my budget limit, only create 3 or 4 new servers, not more than that. So, for example, 5 servers you mentioned. So 5 plus already existing 3. So the maximum count of your servers or instances for your environment will become 8 only at a maximum load hitting your website. It will not go beyond that. Okay, now here it is 3, mentioned 3, scale between 3 and 3. Which means 3 default instances and 3 it can extend up to, more 3 instances it can extend up to. So the maximum you can have 6 instances in your environment. Now increase group size. There are 2 different things: increase group size, decrease group size, which means scale up, scale down. How do you scale up? Okay, increase group size, that is the name taken. And when do you need to scale it up? No alarm. So here we need to create an alarm. Execute policy when what? Add new alarm when no SNS topic. It's not SNS. Okay, we are not going with that. Send a notification. We are not selecting for notifications and all. We only go with, okay, we'll say maximum of, okay, maximum of CPU utilization. When it goes greater than or equals to, for example, we'll say 80%, then automatically for at least one period, I'll say 3 minutes only. Okay, we don't, 1 minute I'm taking here, and here I'll take 3, so 3 minutes it will take. Name of the alarm is that. Just go create. Once you create, the alarm is created. You wanted to edit or remove, you can just do that. And take action. What you have to do, you add instances. Okay, how many instances you are supposed to add at a time? 1 instance you add every single time you add or create instance. 1 only you create. If you set 5, at a stretch it will create 5 instances when CPU load goes to more than 80% based on this alarm set. Okay, and when 80% CPU utilization, then instances need dash seconds to warm up after each step. So here it is mentioned 300. Default, what I'll just give 150 seconds. So that's how it will scale up. And scale down, but this also you need to create alarm. So decrease group size, and we don't have any alarms created here. So what I'll do, I'll just go create an alarm. I don't want notifications again here in this situation. I'll go create minimum of, if it goes CPU utilization lesser than or equals to, we need to select with how much percentage will take. If it is lesser than, the CPU utilization is lesser than 20%, wait at least, we'll say 5 minutes. Okay, let's wait for 5 minutes, then create. Okay, so what it needs to do, it needs to remove instances. How many instances it needs to create? Delete 1 instance at a time, not more than that. because all of a sudden your website it goes on because it is not constant all the time. So if suddenly increase, then there will not be any disturbance. So this is how you scale up or scale down your instances. But if you don't want it to scale up or scale down, what do? You just keep things very simple. Keep this group as its initial size. Okay. I'll just remove these things because I'm not using that. Done.
Sir, if you keep this to initial size, then only one
Forward. Can you please come again?
or what? Yeah, you said if you don't want to spin up the instances or non-instances, if you keep this group at the initial size, so when you are doing this auto scaling.
Yeah. Yes, of course. We are actually mentioning here because when it needs to create instances, when it needs to delete. Okay. The newly created instances, if you don't want it to delete, then you can just select instance protection. If not, don't select, so that the newly created instances will also be deleted. But as we have mentioned 3 in the beginning, it says it will always maintain 3 instances. Clear?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Next, configure notifications. If you wanted any notification, okay, how your auto scaling is working, then you can just select this, add notifications. Okay, when you say add notification, you need to provide your send notification to whom you wanted to send. Okay, manually enter a topic name. That's auto scaling, something like that you just mentioned. Yeah. Auto scaling. Then whom do you need to send? Okay, this is my email ID. I'm just giving myself. So it needs to notify me. When does it notify? Launching instance, terminating instance, failed to launch instance, or failed to terminate instance. In all these 4 cases, okay, I should get a notification. So I've given my, if you wanted to add some more notification, you can do that. You can still do that. Okay, if you don't want it to do, you can delete. And here also the same. I'll just say ID. Simple thing. I'll just give something else. Then review. The moment I say review, okay, check how many instances we currently have running and how many will become running in the future after once the auto scaling group is created. How many instances do we have running currently? 0. And very soon that number will become 3. And here you see there are no instances created, so no instances are added to the load balancer. But when auto scaling maintains those 3 minimum of servers, automatically they will be added to load balancer. Let's check. Now review. So we have an auto scaling. So these are the details. Okay, desired 3, minimum 3, maximum 3. So total 6 servers can be there. All the details we have mentioned are seen over there. And launch configuration is that. Okay, here we have activity history, not yet in service. Launch a new EC2 instance, because you see, recently we have seen no instances are running here, but if you just go check how many instances are running now. Yes, see, one is in A region availability zone, one is in B availability zone, and the other one is in 2 availability zone. So in each subnet or in each availability zone, the instance is created without we creating ourselves. By itself it is creating. Let's check whether our script is working fine or not. So copied either of these instances public IP I've taken and doing it here. If you get the output, our script is working fine. If not, there is something. See, our script is working fine, but the web page is not loaded. Apache server is installed, so we are getting this, but the web page is not loaded. Why? All are in service. See, three instances are created and added to load balancer as well. Yes, you see. Hi, this is my web page. Good day all. Our script is working fine. Now we got it. You clear with this? Yes? Everybody? Can someone list out all the things what and all we have done? Anybody? Can anybody take the initiation and then discuss?
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, please.
First, we have to create a load balancer. Then we have to create instance. In create instance, we have to select the IMA role, and also in advanced details, we have to enter the script.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, uh, at some time, we have to create a S3 bucket. So we'll just create a S3 bucket.
Okay.
And we have to enter some scripts, so like we can use any of the text like editor, I mean context or something. We have to create 2 pages and we have to save it in HTML.
Okay.
And we have to upload the files in the bucket.
Okay.
And in that we have to save it as public, like we have to edit permissions, and we have to make it like everyone.
Okay.
And it will direct to the auto scaling, and in auto scaling we have to enter the group size, and we also have to select all the availability zones in the subnet.
Okay.
And in advanced details we have to make sure that it checked received traffic from elastic load balancer. And we
Okay.
have to enter the health check grace period because of the time, like, so we have entered around 150, so it's 2.5 minutes, and we have to make sure that in instance protection we have to protect that maybe or may not be. And after that it will go to next page in auto scaling, configure scaling policies. In that we have to like enter the maximum amount of these numbers. we have to create alarm. In alarm, we have to mention that it should be maximum or minimum. We have to do it like scale up and scale down.
Okay.
And the like next to go to next page, configure notification. In that, whether we want to send any email, like whatever, whenever it is going to be like change instance or terminate, it is going to notify. And we have to enter, then it will go to next tab. It is like configure tag, like configure tag. We have to enter the ID and the name, something name, and we have to just review it. Then the autoscaling is done, and we need to check the instances, like whether they are working or not.
Okay.
And yeah, and we have to check the load balancer, whether the instances are working or not.
They are in
And we
service
have
or
to,
not? Yep. Yep.
yeah, they are in service or not. And we have to check the IP address of one of the instances. So we got the page, and that's the thing.
Then also the load balancer.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. That's really fantastic. Hope everybody have understand in the same way. So we'll just test another simple thing. After that, we'll wind up for today. So I'm just initially I was separately checking our healthcheck.html page is copied or not. So yes, it's copied. I'm healthy. Everything is fine. Now what I'll do, the one which I wanted to check here is one particular instance. I manually go terminate. Okay. So this is what the instance we have just checked, and now I'll terminate it. When I terminate this, what should happen? Yes, I'm manually terminating one instance. First question, did we create any instance manually?
No, so
No.
there will be no difference.
The autoscaling itself have created all these three instances. Right. So now I'm going to terminate one out of those three. Now my question is, what happens when this instance is terminated? Will there be two instances only, or another instance will be created and added to it?
It will
Yes.
create another instance because we have entered maximum of 3 instances can be created.
Yeah, the limit is there should be 3 instances up and running
Three.
all the time. So that's why it should create. So I'll refresh this. It will not come. Go here and refresh this. One instance is still shutting down. It's terminated. Page is not, but it's still, you'll be able to access your website. What I'll do, I'll just give this ELB path to you guys, so you can also check. Whether your site is working, our site is working or not. You can just check that by clicking on that. See ya.
It's
One
working,
instance is
yeah.
terminated and automatically the other instance is getting ready. In which region it is getting ready? You see, we have terminated an instance from C availability zone, and another instance is also created in C availability zone. Because autoscaling check, it will compulsorily create one instance in one availability zone. So it has noticed okay, the first two availability zones have got an instance created in them, but the last availability zone is not having at least one instance. So go create in that. Now it's running. So this is the the usage of auto scaling. With respect to this auto scaling, you can achieve high availability environment. So your site will always be healthy and can reach out all the requirement, though the queue size increases unexpectedly, though you don't have any expectations to frame your infrastructure with a number of servers and all, isn't it? So hope you all are clear. Are you? Yes. Only one or two, yes. What about the rest? Fine. Now, with this, I would like to stop our session for today. But before that, I wanted to inform you guys, we are finally done with EC2 section with this auto scaling. So hope everybody is clear with all these things in EC2, what and all we have created and checked. Okay. One small thing I think I have not shown, how to create an elastic IP and assign it to your instances. Did I? No. So that is the only thing we need to discuss. That is just a matter of 2 to 3 minutes time. It takes not more than that. So that I'll show in the next class tomorrow. And after once we are done with that, if there is no doubt in all these topics we have discussed under EC2 section, we will be moving on to next service, that is storage. So we'll start with S3 tomorrow. Yes? Fine. And one small thing, Sai, I noticed that there are two Sais. These two are two different people or only one? Okay, fine, fine. Fine then, shall we conclude our class? If you don't have any doubts, probably you should get a doubt while you practice. So today's task is do whatever we have discussed. I wanted an environment created by you by creating an auto scaling group and needs to share your screens with me. One of our student has shared his screens with me like this by creating a Word document, everything detailedly. So I felt this is really good. All the screens he has just copied, noted down somewhere, so that in the future if there is any doubt, so that he can directly go through this, rather go open the video and then check. So this is the point. If you can do this way, it's really useful for you in the future also. Or else you can directly share your screens in WhatsApp. But I may not respond to your WhatsApp messages now because it's not working. But whenever it works, I'll definitely respond to all of them and then clear your doubts. Yes. So if you guys are fine, you can leave. Who and all wanted to leave can leave. If you have any doubts, you can stay back so that we can discuss. So what I'll do, I'll just delete everything what and all I have created. That's important because we are having the permission for only one particular instance to have. So first I'm deleting the bucket. When you wanted to delete the bucket, you must need to give its name. Then only you'll be able to delete it. If not, no. Type exact name, my web data. Okay. Fine, it's done. What I'll do, I'll just delete auto scaling. So auto scaling will automatically terminate all the instances. Then go delete the load balancer. Then check the EC2 instances will be terminated by default. Shutting down. All of them will be shutting down. Yeah. So guys, tell me if there is no doubt. Rajita, shall I make you presenter? Will you share your screen and then show me what was the doubt you had?
Yes, sir. Like I guess I have to create all the IMA roles and all. So it may take some time maybe.
Shall I provide you this screen sharing option to you now, or you wanted to do it and then let me know?
I'll just finish. I mean, you can share the screen, so that should be fine.
Okay, I'm just making you presenter so that you can just share your screens. I mean,
Okay.
so that I'll just notice, I'll be observing what you're doing, how you're doing, what and all you're taking.
Okay. Okay, sure.
So I'm